Hey, what's going on, everybody? So we're down at the shop, and you can see my 2018 Mustang GT back there. Now, for those of you who have been following me on the channel, you know that I've had this car in stage 1 Whipple form for about a year and a half. The early days were not so good with this car. You know, I blew a motor, I had to replace the motor, and it was just a real big hassle. But now that we got the motor in the car and we worked out all the bugs, the stage 1 actually ran pretty good. We put a killer chiller on it, it started to make power, something like 670 to the rear wheels, not bad. We ended up bringing it to the track. It did pretty good times at the track, 10:59 at 134.7 miles an hour, not bad for a stage 1. But now we've since stepped it up to stage 2. All the stage 2 hardware has been installed on the car, and now we got it on the dyno to do some dyno tuning. My tuner is in the car, he's setting up his base files. We're gonna load it in, start the thing up on the rollers, and see what it does. Okay guys, let's watch this one roll. You can see now we're starting to make power. 654 horsepower corrected on the Mustang dyno. That's not bad. And the torque is looking better now. The car's making more torque than it ever had when we were in stage 1. We could probably still tweak this tune a little bit more. You could add 12% to that 654 to get an idea what an estimated dyno jet would be. It's starting to make power, guys. It's starting to look good. Okay guys, just looking at the first 2 pulls. You can see down there, run number 2. This was a pull that we did only to about 200 RPM, just some basic tuning. She made some good power at that point. It actually made a lot of torque, 511 pound-feet, okay, and 689 horsepower estimated dyno jet. That's not bad. But when we raised the RPM and let it rev a little bit, you can see she made some good power, 632 horsepower estimated dyno jet. The horsepower 653 on a Mustang dyno isn't bad. But we lost a little bit of torque on that run. Maybe the car was a little hot or something like that. This thing is starting to make power. So we're gonna tweak the tune. We're gonna try to make a little bit more. All right, guys, we're only midstream on the tuning. I should mention, this is my tuner back here. This is tuning by James. I don't wanna bother him, he's hard at work. He's a great tuner. He's been a friend of mine. He's been helping me out with a lot of things. We already made roughly 732 horsepower to the rear wheels. I'm expecting a little bit more once he tweaks the tune. Look at him hard at work. That's the man. Okay, we picked up a little bit more, 669. And now we're making torque, 521 pounds.
675, 525.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so the corrected numbers though, 669,
Yep.
521?
Yep.
Okay. Looking pretty good. We're finally starting to make power with this thing. Okay, so this was our best run so far. You can see that we're actually starting to make some torque now, 519 pound-feet. The Mustang dyno horsepower figure is roughly 668, 669. Pretty good number for a Mustang dyno, I think. And the estimated dyno jet is 749, just a little shy of 750. Not bad for a stage 2 with stock exhaust.
And there's still room to grow too. We're gonna see if we can get this power to carry a little bit up top and see if I can maybe work a little bit more torque in the low to mid range.
Okay, that's great, James. Work your magic, bud.
All right.
Okay, so James is killing it over here. We made roughly 750 horsepower to the rear wheels, estimated dyno jet, and there's even more in it. We're gonna tweak the tune a little bit more, load it in, and see what she can do now. This thing keeps making power. Mustang dyno figures 690 horsepower, almost 691. And the torque is picking up too. On this run, we actually ran it for a while to get the chiller nice and cold. And you can see, it shows results. All right, everybody, so here's a look at that last run. The torque is picking up. You can see 518 pound-feet of torque. The horsepower Mustang dyno figure is just about 690. And look at that estimated dyno jet. 772 horsepower. Now, we're on pump gas here, guys, 93. I don't know, James, you're killing it, man. You're doing some pretty nice work here.
We're doing our best here. There's still a little bit left in it, just little tweaks, small revisions, and we'll get there.
Well, I'm impressed. 772 horsepower to the rear wheels. We're gonna do another pull. Okay, that's our best pull yet. 693 horsepower, Mustang dyno figures. And look at that, 530 pound-feet of torque. James, you're killing it, man.
Do my best.
These numbers are insane. Okay, so here's the numbers on the last pull. You can see run number 2 was actually looking pretty good. 518 pound-feet of torque, 689 horsepower Mustang dyno figure, and an estimated dyno jet of 772 horsepower. Not bad. But James tweaked the tune, and we made even more power. Look at the torque that we picked up, 629, and 692 horsepower Mustang dyno figure is pretty darn good. But the estimated dyno jet at 775, that's actually killing it, James. I'm very impressed.
Well, thank you. I'd really like to get this to flatten out up top a little bit, but I think we're pretty close to the limit. I'm going to try a couple more things, see what we can do. But we definitely picked up pretty good in the mid-range here.
Yep.
So
that torque curve is looking really good. Okay, let's try another pull. Okay, guys, while I got the car running on the dyno, there's something I want to show you. A lot of people have asked me on the channel, does that Livernoise engine have the typewriter tick? So I want to take the opportunity while it's on the dyno, when it's nice and, nice and warmed up. I want you to listen to this, okay? No tick in here, guys. This motor sounds awesome. This car continues to impress, guys. 710 horsepower corrected Mustang dyno figures. And look at the torque jump. 536 pound-feet of torque. Okay, so just looking at the numbers on that last run, I have to say that I'm pretty impressed myself. Surprised that this car can put down these kind of numbers. You know, just looking at the Mustang dyno figures there, the red line there, 708 horsepower at the peak, and it carried out nice up top. Car made 536 pound-feet of torque. It's got a nice flat torque curve, something that this car never had. And then the estimated dyno jet, 793 horsepower. That's basically 12% over and above the Mustang dyno figures. This car is making a lot of power. James has been tweaking this tune, probably did 10 or 12 revisions to get this thing to make power like this. But it's quite a surprise. I have to say that we put a splash of butane in this, probably to bring the octane up to about 100 octane. That's about it. But the numbers are looking really good. Okay guys, so Tuning by James is over there. We're gonna make one more tune revision and we're gonna do one more run. We gave it a splash of butane to try to make a little bit more power because we put a little timing in it. Let's see what it does now. We picked up even more power. And this killer chiller is really working. Our corrected horsepower is 718.9. Okay everybody, so this is our final pull. Pretty impressive if you ask me. I am very surprised that I had no idea that a Whipple car can make this kind of power. And here's, you know, just looking at the numbers right there, our torque curve got really strong, 535 pound-feet of torque. And you can see from looking at the graph, it's flat, it's right across the board. The Mustang dyno figures at 715, that's quite a bit, you know, for a basic Whipple Stage 2 car. And the estimated dyno jet at 801 horsepower is absolutely impressive. And when you look at the curves, look at the horsepower up top, it carries right out to red line. Nice and smooth. I mean, this is impressive. I got Tuning by James right here. What's going on, James?
Just tuning another Coyote.
Yeah, well, you're doing a fantastic job. I can't say it enough how much I appreciate what you've been doing.
I appreciate it.
So how many tune revisions did you do?
Enough?
I don't know. I haven't been counting, but I think it's something like 15 tune revisions.
Yeah,
you know,
it was, I think, 10 on this current file. Yeah.
Right. So, excellent, James. I really appreciate it. You did a great job.
Awesome. Thank you.
Look at that, guys. James gets all the credit.
Almost, I can't even see. You made her. Damn.
That's right, man.
That's dope, Al.
This thing is going to roll out. What do you think, Tony?
I think a 9. Definitely think a 9. That's hella serious right there. Definitely.
Well, the guys here at 5 Bar, we're looking at the numbers and we're all pretty much in shock.
Hell yeah.
We can't believe that we made over 700 horsepower,
And
no less than
close to 8 now.
and-
We're
and-
at 8.
Yeah, an estimated dyno jet
Yeah.
of 800 horsepower. So,
We gotta see a 9. We gotta see a 9.
well, I don't know if I can drive the car to a 9, but we're going to try.
Definitely.
You got to make sure they see the 3875 pulley on there, too.
Yeah.
That's right. It's only a 387. It's only a Stage 2 kit. There's really nothing special about it. And we're running the stock exhaust, too.
That's
so.
awesome.
All right,
Oh,
we
yeah.
made a lot of power here tonight. We're all very happy.
Yep. Awesome.
All right, everybody. So the car put down 715 horsepower to the rear wheels on the Heartbreak dyno, the Mustang dyno. And the dyno jet estimation was 801 horsepower. Whatever numbers you want to look at,
I think the numbers are really good. And from what we've seen coming out of this shop, the dyno jet estimation is actually pretty accurate. But it's really what's going to tell a story is when we get to the track and see what the track times are. I'm planning on going out there soon, and I'm really looking forward to bringing you that content. So stay tuned for that. Now, a lot of you guys are asking me already, why didn't I use Lund for tuning, right? Why didn't I use my friends over there? Well, the truth of the matter is, guys, I really wanted John Lund Jr. to tune the car. A lot of the high-powered cars that come out of 5-bar here, they're all tuned by Lund. So, you know, like I say, I really wanted John Jr. to tune the car. But if you go back to the beginnings with this car, I remember when I wanted to put a blower on it, I called a couple of prominent shops here in Florida. Over on the East Coast, in the northern part of East Coast, I called a guy over there to put the blower on the car, and he never called me back. And I called another guy over on the East Coast, or actually I sent him an email, and I never heard back from him. So I ended up down at Steeda. Now the guys at Steeda are great, right? How could you go wrong with Steeda? But while I was there, and they were putting the blower on the car, I met Tuning by James. He was there tuning Dario Orlando's race car, and I was so impressed with him that he was doing such a great job that I kept in touch with him. A couple of months later, the motor expired in my car, and actually Tuning by James was the guy who helped me the most at that time. I was able to call him and talk to him. I talked to him so many times about what to do with that build, that really the build is his build, you know. So when it came down to tuning, you know, I really couldn't diss him and go with another tuner. Now James is a great tuner. If anybody wants to use him, you know, he's not as well known, but he's among the best tuners in the country. Now, does this mean I'm never going to use Lund again? Not a chance. I still have Lund's N gauge, and I also have my Gen 2, and I'm planning on a build with this car a little bit later in the year. So you could be sure that I'm going to be using Lund for that car in the future, so stay tuned for that. Okay guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.